That belongs in a museum.
Over the Sea Giant here, purely because it cuts out the AoE, right? So you just don't want to get AoE down, because you will win. And again, even if Reno comes down, your board is pretty heavy. So you're still looking pretty good after a low third here.
Looks like he's going to respect the Emperor as well. There's definitely an option to go face in this situation, but you do know you're playing against the Reno lock here, so he is actually just going to play the Sea Giant. If a Twisting Nether was discounted right now, then he would have his heart shattered right now, but there is no such thing in AKAWonder's hand. Ooh. Siphon Soul will get rid of the 8/8, but if he does that, he can also Dark Bomb the Dark Bomb the young Dragonhawk is a sentence that I've now said as a caster. That makes me happy. And then he will be pretty comfortably alive on the board.
Hey, he could actually. Okay, he's gone for that. Yeah, that's fine. I was wondering. I'm trying to think of stupid things with the Blood Imp, but I'm gonna stop because it's just wrong. I was working out. So do you Argus the Blood Imp then have to attack the Voidwalker so it's not stealthed anymore?
That's probably not the play.
Yeah, it's a play he could have made, but was quite rightly didn't make. And this is still looking pretty grim. I'm kind of surprised there was a tap there.
I am also very surprised there was a tap.
Juggler Lotheb just feels pretty nice, like regardless of what goes on. So he could even have played the Voidwalker as well.
Yep. So it's pretty much, he says, not being able to finish his sentence, Reno or bust here. And he, unlike Amnesiac in the previous series, has chosen the option that keeps him alive as opposed to the bust option.
He chose to draw Reno.
Yep.
Correct play, Wonder. And even behind his hands there, you can see the little smile from AKAWonder there. He's like, okay, maybe this game isn't miserably over. And double PO! Oh,
where were you guys?
We miss you, Dragonhawk!
With his health. But yeah, the implosion into Demon Wrath was... It's one of those situations where the, quote, safe play is kind of a trap. It's like not necessarily the safe play, even though it seems safer. You kind of remove the bad outcome from the equation if you just jam the Dr. Boom there. But the Twisting Nether pickup here is pretty glorious. There is even a world where he gets to play Molten Giant.
Yeah, and that was actually super important as well, because if you look at the health and that Molten, this was a scary turn. Like, he could have played the Boom and the Argus, but even then, if there's silence and buffs, which we can see, he could have just straight up been dead because of the awkward health and not being able to get the Molten Giant down.
That is very nearly the worst possible outcome from those Boom bots. If it did one more damage, that's the worst possible outcome. If it had done 2 more, he was able to play the Molten Giant.
We do see the tap from Elkeith. He does get additional minion to play, because obviously I don't think he's ever just going to play Tempo Owl, especially after he's played the egg, because that'd be horrible. So he does get the 2 minions and the Argus down, so pretty good position, and if he can just get a minion to stick, then he does have double PO and the Owl.
It's numbers, right?
Yeah, I was thinking because he can Implosion the 7/7, and then at worst trade in the Argus to be able to play the Sea Giant and still double PO, right? To clear off the 2 big minions without silence.
Right. Okay. Yeah. When we're saying it doesn't help, like it never helps you achieve lethal because the numbers don't work out in combination with a power overwhelming buff to actually be able to push through any more damage. So.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice actually.
Elke needs to hurry up here. I really hope for his sake he got that through. He did. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and leaving the egg up's really nice as well. You know, not POing the egg because it doesn't. Oh. Okay. BGH. Oh, hang on.
BGH and Sylvanas, though, right? You just put the power overwhelming on it and let it happen. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, just BGHing the 8/8 here seems just fine. He still has that Sylvanas power overwhelming combo if he needs it for an emergency later on. But the Zoo player here is almost officially out of steam. We've seen both power overwhelmings in terms of burst damage, and we've also seen almost all of the big threats. We've seen 2 Sea Giants being used. We've seen an Argus. We've seen Bran, which is another one of the potentially explosive cards. So there isn't much left here to go on.
Yeah, he even plays the Chow just to be secure because he knows he will win the longer game, even if the health is gained for the Zoo player. You know, AKAWonder, the longer the game goes on, he's happier, right? The Zoo, although can live tap, will either just die or just run out of steam anyway. So none of these are the answers he needs from from Elky. I don't think there's any way you can even stabilize this turn. Was it right? So he's gonna owl the Boombot. Is the Argus? He can't trade, right?
I think he had to owl the. I think he had to trade into the. I think he's supposed to trade into the Boombot, owl the bigger taunt, and then you can use the Abusive Sergeant to kill the Chow.
Yeah.
But he does have the Defender of Argus, which of course is stability and keeping himself alive. But I think letting the Boombot go off there were trades that he can make. No, there are. He can send the big Game Hunter into one of the taunted minions instead, and then use the Argus to trade with the two. No, because then that would still leave a 1/1. So yeah,
exactly.
There's actually just no value trades on that entire board, which is really annoying if you're the player with initiative. And he actually can't even life tap here because then he'd be dead to top deck Leroy. So it's actually not looking unwinnable here for Elky. If he could have picked up Leroy plus a buff, I think quite possibly both Abusive Sergeants have been used. Both Power Overwhelmings definitely have. But he is not completely out of this game yet.
Yeah, Egg and Creeper, not the most impactful cards, especially because we've seen the Power Overwhelmings and the Peddlers, so, you know, that's just not going to happen.
Ooh, that's a good card.
Yeah.
Death Rattle ordering is important, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So yeah, just going to push the face here, set up lethal, no reason to make the trade, because it just increases the power on the board. And now Elky, there is the Abusive Sergeant. So now we just need Leroy.
Oh my god, Leroy, really?
Or a Doomguard. Doomguard will do the job too. Doesn't get it. Gang boss. Alright.
Wow, so really close and sort of intricate game from both of these guys here.